Infernal Blessings. We are back with another video. All right, before we begin, some quick announcements. If you are interested in signing up for a 2024 yearly forecast reading, I'm doing those forecast readings from pretty much now, as of today's date, until first week in February. Now, as the recording of this video, which is today, Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023, I am not booking any readings or consultations for the rest of this week. This week is pretty much full and completely booked. I cannot fit any more readings in this week. Putting that out there just to be clear. So any requests to do readings or consultations will begin next week. I will start scheduling, which I already have started scheduling. I will start putting in people for next week. But if you are interested, excuse me, in booking a 2024 spiritual reading to see what the spirits, demons, gods, and goddesses got in store for you for the upcoming 2024 year, or if you're interested in booking any of the various types of readings that I offer, shadow work readings, deity readings, Egyptian oracle readings, Santa Muerte readings, you name it. Just shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. Please include the days and times you are available, not just one time or one day of the week, a complete list of availability. It just speeds up the process. Time zone is very important because, as I said, I deal with clients not just within the United States and all the different time zones. I also deal with clients overseas in Europe, Africa, you name it. I've even had customers from New Zealand. I mean, just crazy. And time zones are extremely difficult to schedule sometimes. So send that info, and I will send you info on how to book a spiritual consultation or a reading. All right. If you are interested in signing up for classes, the way to get in on the classes that I do offer is to go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, which is located at patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I, patreon.com/Baniti. Tier 3, that's the tier you want to join. Tier 3 gives you access to all of the classes in the archive, not just from the day you join moving forward. You're getting over 3 years worth of content. And as I said, the difference of what we do on Patreon, the classes involve work, rituals. It's obviously in a group setting, completely different from what we do on YouTube. I go much more in depth on occult left-hand path topics. I don't hold anything back. I talk about things there. Obviously, I wouldn't talk about openly on YouTube. So if you're interested in taking your path of self-mastery to that next level, because as I said before, remember, this is not a religion. This is a way of life. You live, eat, breathe, shit, and piss this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's why I said many are called on this path, but few are chosen. So patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I, tier 3. That's the tier you want to go to. And join. That gives you access to 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon for Patreon members only, and the group ritual. Also, don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Now you can listen to all the new content in audio format while you're just chilling around the house, maybe walking in the park, exercising, driving in the car, whatever. At work, you can now listen to all this new content in audio format on the Primordial Chaos podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, all one word. Check us out on Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. And I also upload all the new YouTube video content. Also is available on the Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, you can watch all these new videos on Facebook. Also, I will be streaming a live at some point soon in the next couple of days. Haven't been on live in a couple of weeks now. I think about a week and a half, 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks or whatever. So look forward for a new live. Do have a guest coming on December 1st. I'm going to have Cow Priestess come on. She deals with Reiki and some other occult things that I think are beneficial, that can really help us on this path. So look for that. I'll be putting an advertisement and a promo up for that soon. I'm going to try to get Sister Kiona back on here soon. She always adds good insight, and always gives good information. So I'm going to reach out to her. So we'll get a couple people coming on live. Also, book your calendar. Still a ways out. 7th Annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, October 2024. More to come on that early next year. So the link to the Patreon page to sign up for classes, the podcast, my contact email, all the info I just went through, if you forget, is in the description box of this video. All right. I want to talk about the foundational pillars of the left-hand path in the occult, in my opinion. Okay? I found this methodology to be very effective because people always ask, where should I start? How should I approach my path? Now, having said that, as I said many times before, I don't tell people what to do and how they should do it. There is no written in stone set way of how you should do things. You can do whatever the fuck you want, right? But if you're asking for suggestions, advice, and information, I can share with you a very effective method of how you should build your path. I've talked about this, on and off over the years in many videos, but I kind of want to kind of put all this together. Okay? From my experience and in my opinion, and to give you some information that would help you. And there's going to be many other people, this is not just me saying this, there's going to be many other people that will be in agreement with this. You need to really, and this is how I build the mentorship program, by the way. For those in the Red Magus mentorship program on excuse me, on Patreon that work with me on a monthly basis. Some of you guys been there since day one. You've been working, there's a couple of you guys working extremely hard, and the progress that you guys have made is phenomenal from when you first came in well over a year ago, some of you guys, and that's the purpose of the mentorship program. But for those that are in the program or have been in the program, know I start you out with what I call the 3 foundational pillars of the occult and the left-hand path. You always want to start with demonic integration work, shadow work, and ancestral veneration. So I want to talk about them briefly in this video as I'm driving. Looks like this Wednesday pre-Thanksgiving traffic is off the fucking chain already. So it's probably going to take me about 20 minutes or so to get to my barber. It's time to get the haircut. But I want to touch on these 3 pillars. Because when you come out of the gate and work on these 3, as I said before, it's like building a house. Right? When you build a house, the first thing the builder does, it must lay the foundation. The foundation must be solid and stable for the house to stand, to be constructed correctly, to be strong. Because we even know sometimes even when you own a house, the foundation can shift or move, and that could cause a problem where that needs to be repaired. So I'm using that analogy. The foundation must be laid before you start jumping into working with all these intense demons, gods, and goddesses, and spirits from all these different pantheons. Okay? Because as I said before, I see people do this all the time, and for the most part, it doesn't work out too well on a consistent basis. I know there's always the couple of special people. Well, I did it right out the gate, and I'm so fucking amazing at everything. All right, maybe you're one of those minute special people, whatever. But as a whole, I can tell you that shit doesn't work. Okay? So what I show people and teach people through the mentorship program and on the Patreon classes, right? I show people you need to lay your foundation first. Rather than I just want to go jump in and work with Lilith and Lucifer and I want to do stuff with Belial. I'm so deep and dark. And then fast forward a couple months later, they all jacked up in the head and crazy shit's going on in their life. And then they act puzzled and they don't know why it's happening. Well, I don't understand. Why is all this stuff going on? When you start to connect, first of all, shadow work, right? And this will just be a quick tutorial because I could do 15 videos on shadow work and talk nonstop. It's important to uncover the shadow and the hidden self and address the shadow and the hidden self. Because when you're doing shadow work correctly, on the left-hand path, not that fluffy shit, not that, and I'm not knocking it because part of it is getting in tune with your inner child, but not just my inner child, and then, it's deeper than that. It's also getting in tune with the fucked up part of yourself, okay? And understanding it, why you have certain ways about yourself that are destructive, and how you can turn that destructive energy into something productive for your spiritual growth. You must address all your weaknesses. Acknowledge your strengths and the gifts and the skills you do have too. That's part of it, but that's the easy part, because those things you can just continue to build on because they're strengths. The hard work that comes in is dealing with that hidden part of your shadow self that you've been suppressing, you've been hiding, that's very destructive in nature. And sometimes maybe you're in denial of it knowingly or unknowingly. That's the part. So shadow work is a key ingredient. And to me, step one, when you first come on this path, in my opinion, these are the things you need to do. This is step one, in my opinion. Have you really gotten in tune and uncovered and unlocked the shadow self? Do you really understand yourself? Are you clear on why you are the way you are, why you do the things you do? Do you have a thorough understanding of your strengths and weaknesses? And are you willing to put in the work to correct them? Because a lot of people are dealing with traumas they've been carrying for years, going back to being a small child. Psychological trauma is a motherfucker, man. It's a silent killer. Because a lot of times it's there and we're not fully conscious of it. So that's step one out of the gate. Okay? Now, step 2 and 3 kind of work together and hand in hand. So they're really kind of a combined step, so you place them where you see fit. Now, demonic integration work and ancestral veneration. Okay? Let's talk about that real quick. Once you have unlocked the shadow and the hidden self and you're working on it and you're getting yourself to a level and an understanding of who you truly are, not who you think you are, then it's time to awaken the personal daemon within, which really is your true and higher self. You can call it the holy guardian angel. You can call it the Agatho daemon, an Egyptian Heka. It's really referring to the same thing. The personal daemon is the real you, not the illusionary you, not the person you think you are or built yourself up to be, or have convinced yourself, falsely in your mind who you want to be, right? When you start to strip away all those illusionary aspects of self, now the real you is standing there. Regardless of what that is, regardless if it's what you thought it was, if you liked it, but you must embrace it. Every aspect of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Once the personal daemon is awakened within, now you can start to connect to deities, spirits, demons, gods and goddesses. You can work different systems, Egyptian Heka, vampirism, Luciferian magic, telepathic source. And this is why I designed the classes like that in the Patreon page. Because you got a good foundation now. You're doing shadow work. You're addressing the shadow of the hidden self. You've awakened the personal daemon within. This is all the facilitators and the connectors to the spirit world, to the astral gates, to connecting to deities in the void and the abyss. Now, ancestral veneration kind of goes side by side with it. Now, this is a little bit, I don't know if complex is the right word, but this is a little bit more complicated. I would use that word for some, because there's a lot of people out there that always, say, I don't know a lot about my ancestral bloodline. I didn't know my father or my mother or my parents. Maybe you were adopted and you don't know your biological parents. So for some people, they don't have accessible information to set up an ancestral altar for ancestral veneration and acknowledgement, not worship. Because remember, you are your ancestors, they are you. You cannot worship yourself. The same blood that runs through their veins runs through your veins. So this is why I don't promote ancestral worship, right? We don't promote that shit. When you're venerating something, you're showing respect. You're showing acknowledgement. You're saying, I am you, you are me. The blood that runs through my veins runs through your veins. You're making that bond or connection. So an ancestral altar and doing ancestral work from a left-hand path perspective, in my opinion, is highly recommended. Okay? Now, if you're an individual that doesn't have that history, you still can set up an ancestral altar and address your ancestors as a whole, the ones that are unknown, and then also make sure you address the ones that are connected to you by blood that you do not know, but are not welcome if they're not here for your personal growth and development. So there's a process. You can still connect with your ancestors set up. Now, if you want to do even more deeper work, what I've suggested to some in the past, do a DNA test and get a good history of your bloodline and what cultures and backgrounds you come from. That can give you a good solid foundation of how to set up that ancestral altar, especially when you do not know a lot of history or little to no history about your ancestors. So I want to make it clear, you can still, either way, whether you're a person who knows a lot about their ancestral history, if you're a person who knows some or a little bit or next to none or nothing, you still can connect with your spiritual and bloodline ancestors. It's a little bit of a different process for the individual that doesn't have a lot of info, but it still can be done. So now the house is built, the foundation is solid. You're acknowledging your ancestors, you're venerating them, which is also acknowledging the divine within you. You're acknowledging the royal blood that runs through your veins that connects you to the spirit realm. You've awakened the personal Daemon within now because you are doing the shadow work that needs to be done to unlock the hidden gnosis of self, the known and unknown parts of ourself, the good, the bad, the ugly that we need to be fully alert and aware of to open our psyche to connect with the spirit world, to open the astral gates, to work the clip path, to go into the void and the abyss, the deep aspects of our subconscious mind. We can do that now. Why? Because we've laid the foundation. It's important to lay the foundation of the three pillars, the foundational pillars of the occult and the left-hand path. And I stand strongly behind this, not because it's just my opinion, because myself and many others I've been in contact with and worked with over the years, they're doing the same thing. That's why. Okay? And they've gotten the results that are necessary in order for them to really grow on their path. That's why. Okay? It's not just coming from a perspective of personal opinion, not at all. Okay? And again, I want to make this clear. I, by in no way, am saying what I'm saying, and I have to say this. Because if you don't, then people come, well, you know what, I did something. They'll come with what, in their mind, they think is something adverse to what I'm saying, as if they're proving a point. Well, you know, I did this, and so, well, that's great. I'm not saying what I'm saying is the tell-all, be-all, and the only way. But I can tell you, on a wide-scale level, a high percentage of what I'm saying is factual. So if you got a way, and it's working for you, then, you know, power to you, knock yourself out. No worries. Then it don't apply to you. I'm more so speaking to those who are still trying to find a way, right? Who are still trying to find where should they begin, where should they start. Now, I want to make this also clear. It's not just for beginners or starters either, right? Let's just say you're on the path and maybe you still feel like you're struggling, you're a bit disorganized, it's not manifesting or happening for you. Maybe you need to rethink it and maybe reevaluate this and, you know, and start all over again, right? Maybe you need to do that, okay? Now, the thing that's interesting, sometimes maybe you didn't lay that foundation correctly, right? Maybe you didn't lay it solid. Maybe you didn't lay it to the point where you didn't get those three pillars functioning. And that could be a reason why you could be a practitioner on this path, you know, for you're not technically a newbie or a beginner, maybe you need to go back and reevaluate. Am I doing this the correct way and the way I need to be doing it? Okay? That's something you need to look at. That's something you need to address and analyze. Because that could be a telltale reason why stuff isn't really working for you like you expected it to, because maybe you didn't lay those foundations correctly. Maybe they're not functioning the way they need to be functioning. Okay? So you need to take a very solid look at that, right? You need to really seriously say to yourself, is this functioning on all cylinders, my path? Am I getting the results? Remember, I've explained clearly multiple times, this path is about getting results, okay? It's that simple. If you're not getting the results, then it's got to be clear with you, you're not on this path, okay? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about getting results, okay? So ask yourself, have you laid these foundational pillars? Are they functioning the way they need to be functioning in your life and on your path and in your system? Be honest with yourself. And sometimes we really think that we're aware 100% of what we're doing and how we're doing it, but we're really not, right? And this is why, again, I don't even like to use the word opinion. And this is why I want to share with you in my experience. I guess that's a better word to use. And not just through me, as I said earlier, through others. When you lay that foundation correctly, you're going to see a greater difference. Look, I'm not saying this to toot my horn, and it's not coming from ego-driven perspective. I say this with confidence. I know what the fuck I'm doing. Trust me when I tell you. If you take this information, utilize it. Now, everybody's not going to be able to do it the exact same way, but if you utilize it in the most beneficial way for you and your spiritual growth, I will 150% guarantee you will see a difference, you will see a change, and you will get the results you've been looking for. Okay? When you hear me talking about consistency, having a foundation, being organized, having a regular, you've established regular practices in order to be consistent. These are all the things I'm talking about when I say that this path is work. Okay? We have to be clear on that. It's work. Just sitting around hoping and waiting and thinking, something mystical is just going to happen for you out of the blue is just pure foolishness. Okay? It's not how this path works. Okay? It's not how you're going to take your growth to that next level. Okay? I just want to be clear on that. So if you think you're going to take it to that next level, just assuming that something will give or something will pull or something is going to change or just lickety split out of the blue is going to happen, that's super mystical and magical. Hey, you fool yourself. Okay? You're fooling yourself. It's not how this works, man. It's not how it works. So we have to be smart when we think, right? We have to be clear on what it is we're doing, right? We have to have a greater understanding, not just on the surface of what we think is right. We have to have a greater understanding, first and foremost, about the shadow self, because that unlocks and opens the door. That's the key. I can't stress that enough. That's the key. And that's why, as I said, the other two kind of demonic integration work and ancestral veneration can kind of be worked simultaneously together, because that's part of awakening the true self. But shadow work, in my opinion, if You're asking right out the gate, where should I always start and begin? And remember, shadow work is a continual process, right? Let's keep that in mind. Okay? Shadow work is a continual process. So we must keep in mind, in my opinion, shadow work is step one. If you want to know where should I begin, how should I start, what should I be doing, and more so, that's directed to say to somebody who's raw right out the gate, brand spanking new. Okay? Let's just be clear on that. But if you are not the newer person, if this applies to you in some shape, form, or fashion, maybe you didn't get out the gate like this. Maybe as you're listening, you say to yourself, you know what, I didn't really lay those foundations like I should have. I didn't do it. Well, make the adjustment. Make the adjustment as you see fit. So long story short, I think you get the picture as I'm getting closer to my destination. I'm going to wrap this up. So for all those now, you got your answer. How should I build my path? That's how you do it, folks. That's the foundation. Say it again. Shadow work, demonic integration work, and ancestral veneration. Veneration. Now worship, please, scratch that from your mind. We don't pour out alcohol and libation for all of our ancestors, because as I said before, some of them could have been winos and alcoholics. You don't want to feed the addiction. Not all your ancestors are here for productive reasons to help you evolve and grow on your spiritual path. Some look at you as a gateway or a conduit to return to this realm to continue doing the fuckery they were doing when they were here before. It's a whole nother story, or maybe a whole nother video. But get those 3 pillars in motion, and I will guarantee you will get results like you've never gotten before. All right? Okay, having said that, again, just a reminder, if you are interested in booking your 2024 spiritual forecast reading to see what the demons, gods, and goddesses got in store for you for 2024, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you that information. Or if you want to book any other type of spiritual reading I offer, just reach out to me and I'll send you information on how to book a spiritual reading or a spiritual consultation. Again, if you want to sign up for classes, go to patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3, that's the tier you want to join. That will give you access to the 3 private classes that I do every month on Patreon for Patreon members only. Also, don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. So everything that I just went through, my contact email address, how to book a reading or a consultation, your forecast reading, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page for classes, all of those links, the podcast, classes, email, everything that I just said, all that information on how to reach out to me for any of the aforementioned, all of that is in the description box of this video. That's going to do it for me. I have reached my barber, so probably on the next video, I'm going to look a little different. Let me stop. Yeah, it's time to get sliced up. So let me go up in there real quick, and then after that, it's time to get the exercise in, and then go into the Bruins and Panthers game tonight. Go Cats. Let's spank them baby bears tonight. That game's going to be off the chain. I know it's packed and sold out. So looking forward to that later this evening. But I'll talk to you guys soon on the next video. Infernal blessings, and we out.